when I first heard the words come out of my son's mouth. "Mom, maybe it's time for you to move somewhere more appropriate. To free up some space around here." I thought I had misheard him. I was sitting at the dinner table, still wearing the apron from cooking his favorite stew, the one he used to beg for during college breaks. His wife, Rachel, just stared into her wine glass, not daring to look at me. And my grandson was too engrossed in his phone to notice the silent bomb that had just been dropped in the middle of our family dinner. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video. It wasn't just the words that hurt. It was the cold calculation in his voice, as if I were a piece of furniture that no longer matched the house. I had been living with them for over a year since my arthritis got worse after the fall. I thought we were family, that helping raise their son, doing the laundry, folding towels, and cleaning up while they went off to yoga or work retreats meant something. I didn't complain when they repainted my bedroom without asking, or when they moved my dresser to the garage to make space for the baby room. Even though there was no second baby coming, I told myself it was temporary, that I was useful, that I mattered. But apparently, I had become clutter. They sent me to a nursing home that weekend. It wasn't even a good one, just outside of town, far enough that I couldn't easily visit anyone. They called it the Pines. It had that smell of bleach and loneliness that clung to the hallways no matter how many scented plug-ins they used. The staff was kind but overworked. My roommate, Eileen, was almost fully blind and mostly nonverbal. The food was tasteless. The nights were long. The first week, my son didn't visit. The second week, I heard through a friend, not from him, that they were remodeling the downstairs, turning my old bedroom into a home theater. Home theater. I sat in that cracked vinyl chair by the window and stared out at a parking lot, blinking through the sting of betrayal. I remembered the day he was born, how I worked 2 jobs while finishing my degree, how I gave up trips, clothes, even dental visits so he could go on class field trips. I remembered staying up late helping him study, walking in the cold to get him cough syrup, lying awake worrying when he was out too long. I remembered holding him when he cried over his first heartbreak. Now I was inconvenient. That night, I called my lawyer. I may have been locked away in a place they thought I wouldn't have access to anything, but they forgot one thing. The only reason that house was theirs was because I had signed over the deed 5 years ago. I had co-signed the mortgage. And I was still the holder of the largest investment account in the family, the one my husband left behind after his passing. The account with my son's name penciled in, until now. I asked Mr. Dorsey, my long-trusted attorney, to visit me at the facility. He was shocked when he arrived and saw where they had placed me. But he said nothing, just opened his briefcase and nodded. We updated the will that very night. The next morning, I woke with a strange calm I hadn't felt in weeks. I sat with Eileen, holding her hand as she slept, and I realized something. I might have lost a bed in my son's house, but I had not lost my power. I had not lost my voice. Not yet. 2 weeks after I signed the updated will, my son finally showed up. Not with flowers, not with an apology. He brought papers. "It's just a few documents, Mom," he said with that same clipped tone he used whenever I asked about the remodel. "We're just making everything legal and easy, since you're, retired now." He slid a folder in front of me. I looked down at the highlighted sections. He wanted me to give up power of attorney. He wanted full control over the remaining joint accounts, the ones I never touched but quietly maintained after my husband's passing. My son didn't even meet my eyes. He just tapped the pen. Rachel stayed out in the hallway. I could see her reflection in the glass, pacing, arms crossed. She didn't even want to be in the same room as me, the woman whose child I rocked to sleep when she couldn't be bothered. I looked at my son, this man I raised, and I said, "No." He blinked. "What do you mean, no?" "This is for convenience, Mom. You're not even using the money. It's just sitting there." I slid the folder back. "Let it sit, because I'd rather die broke than let you touch a cent of it again." He stood there, stunned, but I didn't raise my voice. I didn't shout. I simply pressed the emergency call button on the wall and asked the nurse politely to escort him out. After that day, he never visited again. But something strange started happening. Over the next month, I received 2 handwritten letters, one from my grandson, just a simple, "Hi Grandma, hope you're okay," scrawled in blue crayon. The other, from Rachel's mother. She apologized. She said she didn't know they had shoved me into a facility like garbage. Her words, not mine. Apparently, Rachel had painted a story that I wanted to go, that I was happier here. But something about my son's behavior at a recent family dinner had struck a nerve, especially when he made an offhand joke about how much easier things are without an old woman slowing down the Wi-Fi. I wasn't just hurt anymore. I was done. Through my lawyer, I removed my son from every legal document he was ever part of. His name, gone. His inheritance, gone. Instead, I set up a college fund for my grandson, in a trust that his parents would never be able to touch. Then I did one final thing. I called a real estate agent. Because my name was still listed as a co-signer on the house's mortgage, and because my son had missed a payment amid all his renovations, I had legal grounds to act. And so, I did. I filed for foreclosure. 2 months later, a moving truck pulled up to my son's pristine suburban driveway. He didn't notice at first. He and Rachel were inside, planning their next renovation, some expensive patio project they boasted about on social media. I watched from a distance as the foreclosure officer knocked on their door, envelope in hand. At first, my son laughed. I saw it from across the street. That smug, dismissive smirk he inherited not from blood, but from entitlement. Then the officer handed him the notice. His face changed. Confusion first, then realization, then rage. He stormed outside, yelling across the lawn, "You did this, you bitter, old—" The officer stepped between us. "Sir, this is a legal process. Your co-signer had every right after the payment default. You'll have 30 days to vacate." Rachel came out next, barefoot, her manicured nails clutching her phone like a weapon. "You can't do this! You're family!" I tilted my head, smiled softly. "You made that clear when you left me in a hallway with a suitcase and a barking dog." She turned red. "You're destroying your own grandson's home." That stopped me, just for a moment, and then I answered calmly, "No. I'm securing his future. You were only ever decorating the present." They were evicted before the month was out. The house, the one I had partially financed, helped clean when they first moved in, cooked in, held my grandson in, was sold at auction. Quietly, privately. No headlines, no scandal. Just cold paperwork and justice written in ink. And with the proceeds, I did something no one saw coming. I bought a property in the same neighborhood, a smaller single-story home, perfect for a woman with tired knees but a sharp memory. And next door, I bought another house, in my grandson's name, held in a trust, protected. The boys started visiting me on weekends, then holidays. Eventually, when Rachel and my son's marriage began crumbling under financial stress and blame, custody talks began. And my lawyer, the same one I handed the updated will to, stepped in again. My son called me one night, drunk and angry. "You always hated me. You wanted to see me fail." "No," I said softly. "I wanted to see you grow. But when you shoved your mother into a facility like broken furniture, you didn't leave me behind. You left your conscience." Then I hung up. Years passed. The boy grew tall, thoughtful, kind. Nothing like his father. He liked painting, like I did. We filled our weekends with colors, stories, and quiet meals that didn't end with shouting. On the day he turned 18, I handed him a key and a letter. In it, I wrote, "You are not your parents' mistakes. This house is yours. Because kindness should never be punished, and cruelty should never be rewarded." He hugged me and didn't let go. As for my will, it was ironclad. My son was never mentioned again. The estate, the savings, the house, all of it went to the boy who remembered my birthday when no one else did. I sometimes sit by the window, watching the storm clouds roll across the sky. just like the one from that night when they left me outside, wet and humiliated. But now I sit inside, dry, safe, loved, and I smile, because sometimes the greatest revenge is rewriting your ending with peace. Please subscribe to our channel and tell me in comments from where are you watching this video.